LAMBDA has many similarities with LET in that we use variables, but it does also have some major differences. And one of the biggest advantages of LAMBDA is that it allows us to create our own functions that we can reuse throughout the workbook. So let's dive into an example. Now, let me just delete this out so we can start from the beginning. Here I have a list of sales prices, and in this column I want to calculate the sales price plus tax. And we can see in cell C4 that the tax rate is 20%. So this is a reasonably straightforward calculation. We just need to do sum. We want to say sales price multiplied by what we have in cell C4, and we want to press F4 to lock that, close the bracket, and we need to add the price on again, otherwise we'll just get 20% of 10 and we want the actual total. So we can drag this down and our formula is done. Nice and straightforward. And if we take a look at this formula, you can see that I'm using basically two cell references. B7 refers to the sales price and C4 refers to the tax. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up price and tax as variables and use those in the formula instead. So we're going to type in equals lambda, and we have one argument, parameter or calculation. Now, one of the biggest differences between lambda and let is that with let, we define our variable and then immediately define the cell that it refers to. Now, with lambda, it works slightly different. We declare all of our variables up front, but we don't declare the cells or the range that they refer to until the end of the formula. So thinking about that sum calculation where we're basically using two cells, B7 and C4, I'm going to set those up as variables. So let's do B7. That refers to the sales price, so I'm going to call it price. And then cell C4 refers to the tax rate, so let's just call that tax. Those are my two variables, comma. Now I do my calculation. So this time we can say sum, and we're just going to replace the cell references with those variables that we've set up. So we do the price multiplied by the tax, and then we plus the price. Close off our lambda. Nice and straightforward. Let's hit enter. I'm going to get a calc error. Now, why am I getting that error? Well, if we take a look at the lambda formula, we haven't actually told Excel which cells price and tax refer to. We didn't declare them at the beginning like we do in the let function. Now we declare our values at the end of the formula. So we need to open another bracket and then define which cell price refers to and which cell tax refers to. So price refers to cell B7 and tax refers to cell C4. And we're going to press F4 to make that absolute. Let's close it off, hit enter, and now we should find that we get exactly the same answers. Now you're probably looking at this formula and thinking, well, that's a lot longer and more complicated than this formula just here. And I would say yes, for something this simple, you wouldn't necessarily create a lambda unless this is a calculation that you needed to do often in a worksheet. Then it might be advantageous to set it up as a lambda. And the reason why it might be advantageous is that we can now convert this into our own formula and use it in the spreadsheet. So if we go up to this calculation, I'm going to select everything except where we define our cell references. Control C to copy. And then we're going to jump across two formulas and we're going to go into our name manager. Because the way that we do this is that we set this formula up as a named range. So let's click on new, and I'm going to immediately Control V to paste my formula into this window. I can now give my formula a name. So let's call it price plus tax. So I know what it's going to do. Let's click on OK and close. So now instead of typing that long lambda, I can simply come into a cell, equals, and this now works like any other formula in Excel. You can see there it is. Let's press the tab, and the two arguments are those variables that I defined. So all I need to do now is specify the price, which is B7, and then the tax rate. Now I could type in 40% here, or I could select a cell, F4 to lock, close the bracket, hit enter, and we're going to get the same result. Now let's just apply formatting. I'm going to add counting formatting just to make that look the same. And the cool thing about this formula is that we can reuse it throughout the workbook on other data sets that are similar. Now, a question that comes up all the time is, okay, I've set up my formula. What about if I want to use it in other workbooks? Now, unfortunately, there isn't an easy way to tell Excel that you want to make this formula available across all of your workbooks. But what you could do is simply click in any cell that contains the formula, copy it, open a new workbook, paste it in, and effectively that will import the formula into that new workbook. You can then delete it out, but the formula will still be available to you. So that's a little hack for getting around that. So now that we understand the concept of a lambda, let's use it in a more complex example. Now over here, I have a set of data that has some employees, their salary, the department they work in, and the region. And I want to do a basic sort by over here. And we've already seen how the sort by function works. Now I want to sort this data set by the salary in descending order and by the department in ascending order. So let's see what that would look like before we do our lambda. So we're going to say sort by. We want to sort the entire array, so everything. The first column we want to sort by is the salary column. So let's select that. And we want to sort in descending order. That will put the person with the highest salary at the top, comma. We then want to sort by the department column. And this time we want to sort in ascending order. So we need a 1 in there. So that's a basic sort by that we've already seen in this course. Let's hit enter. So let's turn this into a lambda. Now I'm going to go up to my formula bar and let's just make the formula bar nice and wide again. And we're going to type in lambda, open the bracket. Now remember, with a lambda we define our variables up front, and I'm using 3 cell ranges in the sort by formula: B4 to E17, C4 to C17, and D4 to D17. So I'm going to give these meaningful names. B4 to E17 refers to my entire data set, so I'm going to call this data, comma. C4 to C17 refers to the salary column, so let's call it salary, comma. The final one, D4 to D17, refers to the department column, so let's call that dept, comma. Then we have our sort by calculation. So what I'm going to do is go through and replace these cell references with their new names. So B4 to E17 refers to data, C4 to C17 refers to salary, and D4 to D17 refers to the department. And then we need to close off our lambda. Now remember, if we hit enter, we're going to get a calc error because we need to tell the formula which cell ranges these variables refer to. So let's open a bracket. Data refers to the entire data set, B4 to E17, comma. Salary refers to the salary column, comma, and dept refers to the department column. Close the bracket, hit enter, and check it out. We get exactly the same result, except this time we're using a lambda. So now that we have this formula set up, we can do the same thing and create our own function. So we're going to select everything except those final cell references, Control C to copy. We're going to go to formulas, name manager, create a new name, and let's paste it in, Control V. Now I'm going to give this a name, so we'll call it sort by salary, and click on OK and close. And now we can simply use that instead. So now if we type in equals, we can choose sort by salary, and we get our 3 arguments: data, salary, and department. So our data set is just here. The salary is this column just here, and the department is this column just here. Close the bracket, hit enter, and we get the correct result. And just to show you one last example, if we scroll down, we have another data set that has different data, but it's kind of similar. I might want to sort this data using my new formula. Now, one thing you need to watch out for here is how you're actually naming your variables, because these are very specific to the data set that I set this formula up for: data, salary, department. So if I then want to use these on another data set, you can see that this data set doesn't have a salary or a department column. So you might want to make these a little bit more generic. So let's do that. Let's go back to the name manager. Let's select our formula. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to call this first one range instead, RNG. The next one I'm going to call sort 1. And the next one I'm going to call sort 2. So these are kind of generic and could apply to any data. Let's make sure we replace this. So we want range, then we want sort 1, and then finally sort 2. Click on close. Yes, I want to save, and you can see that the formula still works. So now if I wanted to use this on this data set, I can say sort by salary, and this time they're a lot more generic, which makes them more meaningful to this little data set. So I'm going to select my entire range. Sort 1, well, let's sort on the price. And sort 2, let's sort on the region. Close the bracket, hit enter, and we get our results. So hopefully you can see there some of the advantages of using LAMBDA and creating your own formulas.
If you're not a subscriber, click down below to subscribe so you get notified about similar videos we upload. To see the full course that this video came from, click over there. And click over there to see more videos from Simon Says It.